Tommy, what are you doing? Go! Go! We all know how amazing the Canon 70D was back when it was released. It took all its competitors years to catch up with the truly awesome autofocus system. Let's not even get started on the legendary Canon colors as well. I think we all know what this camera is capable of with all the other videos and websites out there, so I figured I'd go over its not so great side within the context of 2019. Make sure to comment after watching and roundhouse that subscribe button, and here we go. The Canon 70D was a great camera back when it was released, but we must now keep in mind that this camera was released way back in 2013, and it's getting fairly long in the tooth. Now I'm going to get a ton of flack for this, but I think I'm going to come out and say it pretty straight up. This camera is pretty much outdated now. The only thing that really still holds up, and I'm being brutally honest, I'm not being paid to, I'm not getting paid or anything, so I'm just, I've used a ton of cameras now, I'm just giving you my honest opinion on this. The only thing about the Canon 70D that's actually held up today in 2019 is the dual pixel autofocus system. Now, when it comes to autofocus, the 70D is untouchable. Apart from the Canon 80D. It really is a great autofocus system. But that's where the superiority of the 70D ends. The bitrate is pretty much, very low. I mean, for instance, if you take a Samsung NX500 for 500 Australian dollars, you're getting, especially with the hack that's going around now, you can get well over 120 megabits of data, and that's significantly more than the Canon camera. I know the 70D has Magic Lantern going for it, and I know that the bitrate can be upped a little bit, or you can shoot RAW. But we must keep in mind that shooting RAW on the Canon 70D means you're only shooting 7 seconds of video. And to be perfectly honest, having done that, I really don't think that 7 seconds of video is of any use to anyone. The 70D in 2019 is frankly not worth spending 500 600 Australian dollars. Especially considering that the Samsung NX500 can be had for $500 with the kit lens, and that camera does 4K as well, and good quality 4K with the high massive bitrate. It's just one of those things where you have to value up the lens ecosystem, I should say, of the Canon system with every other camera you're looking at. In this price point, honestly, even the Sony a6000 specs wise destroys the Canon 70D. I'm being brutally honest, and I know some of you guys are gonna hate me for this, but I feel like I have to tell the truth. Like I can't lie. Photography wise, this camera is still way behind what else you can get at this price point. If you're strictly gonna be shooting photos, the Nikon D7100 is leap years ahead, and this is not an exaggeration. If you go on DxOMark right now and look up the sensor, comparisons and all of that, it's clearly ahead. The D7100 also does not have a anti-aliasing filter. So at the end of the day, the D7100 is going to be cheaper than the Canon 70D. It's going to be sharper than the Canon 70D, and it's going to have it's going to have more lenses available than the Canon 70D for the same amount of money. Remember, Nikon has the F mount, and they have lenses going as far back as the 1960s. So we have to keep everything in mind when we compare the cameras or equipment like this in general today. Context matters, and context dictates that the 70D is essentially outdated. Now, having said all of that, would I recommend the Canon 70D if it was maybe $100 or $200 cheaper? Well, then this becomes a very interesting option for budget videographers or budget photographers, or especially people that do both. For around $350, it's a completely different scenario because of dual pixel autofocus. So for videos like these ones, where people like myself who are talking to a camera, and they need to see what do you call it, a flip up screen and record ourselves, and like dual pixel autofocus, make sure that like we're always in focus. For people like myself, around $350, the Canon 70D is one of the best options that's available. The fact that it does decent photography as well is like the icing on the cake at that price point. So it's all about, like with anything else, balancing the good with the bad, the pros and cons. Dollars versus performance versus competitors' performance. So with everything in mind, it's really hard for me to recommend this camera right now as it is. I think this camera will be a lot more, how can I say it? It'll be a lot more competitive once the Canon 90D comes out, whenever Canon decides to put that one out. But as it stands today in 2019, I don't recommend it. And like I said throughout this entire video, it just does not hold up when you compare it to equally priced cameras you can find on the used market. I mean, cameras that were released a year after this camera, like the NX500 for instance, which was released in early 2014, and that thing does 4K, and it's just light years ahead of this camera. So with all that being said, I know you guys are gonna be angry because it's I'm dissing a camera that it's universally loved, but I have to be honest with you guys. I can't when I'm making a video, I can't be biased to Canon, Nikon, or Fuji or whatever. Like it's like if I was to do that, I'll be doing you guys a disservice. So I hope you guys understand me being so negative about this camera, but it has to be done. Someone had to do it. So yeah, like I hope you enjoyed this video. I really enjoy making these, but yeah, please like, subscribe, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, which I'm sure you guys will, because I'm dissing a beloved camera. So just be gentle. Nah, I'm just kidding. Just be honest, like I'm being honest. Be honest yourself. If you think I'm being an idiot, or if I'm being too harsh, unnecessarily harsh, let me know. It's a free world. You can speak your mind. With that ramble out of the way, hope you enjoy this beautiful day we're having. Be nice to one another. Adios.